try not to take disciples outside of that, because I feel unless I'm can regularly hope to visit, the care is not complete. So, we could speak so much about that, the duties of the spiritual master and the disciple. But I won't at this time. So, I'm either going to see those disciples, or I'm often corresponding with them, spending my time in this way, or just thinking of myself as having to be a spiritual master, just trying to become purely situated in chanting and hearing, just because of this obligation that so many persons are depending in their spiritual life on my example. But the best example is simply to keep very tightly fixed at the lotus feet of one's own spiritual master's instructions, and to preach vigorously. So the preaching that I've taken on is this Back To Godhead Magazine. This is becoming more active involvement for me than in the past. In 1969, Srila Prabhupada asked me to become the editor. Well, I was the editor for many years. A few years, 5 or 6 years, in Boston, New York. Then when we moved to Los Angeles, it kind of tended to get out of my hands. In fact, I even gave it up for a while. It was too far away, and I was traveling. But then, Srila Prabhupada directly gave it back to me again. It was 1977, 76. And that time I went to Los Angeles just to do that. But again, it's very difficult to keep up unless you're there. So, with this in mind, this year at the meetings in Mayapur, I asked that the magazine be moved to New York, the headquarters of the magazine. That was agreed by the trustees, and that's taking place now. We're building professional quarters in New York for offices. We're purchasing some equipment, and the senior editor, Jai Dwaita Maharaj, is there. And we don't just want to make a physical move, but we want to improve the magazine very much. I believe the magazine is already pleasing to Prabhupada. Have you got the latest issue, the Hare Krishna People of Canada? There's one copy. There's always room for improvement. If somebody thinks, oh, what I'm doing is excellent, then how can he improve? But I don't think that the magazine is not relevant to people, or is not an instrument that can make people Krishna conscious. It is. At the same time, I'm aware, and Jai Dwaita Maharaj is aware, that great amounts of improvement can be made. It's like we were mentioning about the paintings. You have in your temple so many nice, newly done paintings. You also have one old painting of Vishnu with so many technical discrepancies. But after all, that painting is very potent also, transcendentally. But we're very glad that the painting is improving. So it's kind of like that. The professionalism, the artistic expression in those later paintings, the Krishna conscious vision can be improved and improved. And yet at the same time, one can't. We don't think that we're not there already. We want to make so many more relevant topical articles about the problems the world is facing, improve the graphic quality. To run a magazine is an occupation in itself. Anyone who is editor of a magazine, that's practically all he does. So I'm planning to spend about a week and a month in New York, working with the staff and trying to increase the staff. Not just because I'm there we're moving, but New York is as a city is even more of a center than Los Angeles in terms of printing or media, and there are a number of devotees on the East Coast who, while they can't work with us full time, are going to help us very much. We can very easily drop in and see members of the Bhaktivedanta Institute who now have a house in Philadelphia, like Ravindra Sarup and our friend Yogeshwar, who's president of Philadelphia. These people have always been thinking of Back to Godhead as a preaching instrument, and you have to encourage them to write more. And Brahmananda Swami, he's going to be based half a year in New York with his preaching. And he's always been very concerned about the magazine. And the fact that I'm initiating Guru, that I'm working on the magazine, I think with time it will attract more people to work with me who have this literary inclination or magazine work, because they know it won't be something that is uncared for or neglected, but that if the Guru himself is doing it, it will tend to gather people there who want to work. And how can a magazine be improved unless it's with this kind of enthusiasm that it is an important preaching instrument and that it should be improved so that it becomes what Prabhupada wanted, a magazine like, in popularity, he said, like the Reader's Digest magazine or like Life magazine, and influential. So this, starting with this year, is going to take up more of my work time. I'm planning to go in there a week a month, and then the editors are planning to visit me another time during the month, wherever I am. So I'm usually somewhere out there. I like to spend my time at Gitanagari, which is a very beautiful farm project. I think even amongst our farms, the land is very nice, and we have very advanced farmer devotee in Paramananda, who keeps the agricultural and cow protection level of that farm very, very high. So this is a very nice place to live. It's the farm means the way that we want people to live after they read our books. If someone says, well, this is theoretical, how do you live? Of course, that's also demonstrated in our city temples. But ultimately, if we were to have our way, we wouldn't have so many big cities. Everyone should live in the village way, like Krishna lived, keeping cows. As Krishna demonstrated with his philosophy, he also demonstrated with his life how to live. We have to live in the city because we have to catch the karmic madly going to work. But if we actually catch him and convince him, don't go to work, you work this way. He should live like that. He should live simply on a farm without any so much botheration about amenities and television and movies and running back and forth and rapid transportation. So at Gitanagari, one thing we're developing, it may seem a little obscure to you, but it's actually important, is the oxen power. They have 3 teams of oxen, and within a few years they can replace all their machinery and plow the fields with oxen. This was stated by Prabhupada as an important thing in his Varnashram walks and talks. So that project is somehow has been given to me to oversee the spiritual life there. And we have a Gurukula there. And in connection with that, we're working with the, it's like one temple, the Gitanagari farm and the Baltimore temple, which is the Sankirtan temple. We have a women's party there and a men's party. There are about 14 devotees going out on Sankirtan every day there. And they have this burden of love, of supporting Gitanagari. So just as you have a burden now of trying to get this big temple underway, and for some time some of the devotees cannot distribute books as freely as they like. Devotees there are undergoing that. But now finally we're just able to distribute books again. But they have a unique responsibility to also support this Varnashram project. Most of the devotees are my disciples, so they're enlivened to do it. Actually, the collections that they're making are as good as any temple their size in the world. They're doing very nicely and very enthusiastic. So more and more we'll get facility to distribute books as well as maintain that program. And then we have another program in this one little temple area of my immediate GBC responsibility. We've opened a permanent center in at the Pennsylvania State University, which is about less than an hour from the farm. The farm is right in the middle of the beautiful forests and rivers, and yet a mile away is this university. It's one of the biggest universities in the country. There are about 40 or 50,000 students. And one nice brahmachari, Stamba brahmachari, has gone there and opened a permanent center in the old style of college preaching, that he's always there, people can always come by, and more and more he's getting deeply into relationship with the students and the university. Some devotees have already been made. And to me it's very pleasing to see that kind of preaching going on, one-to-one preaching with especially the intelligent class of people. So at Gitanagari I'm able to work very nicely on Prabhupada's biography. So we have a staff there now also. It's like a BBT department. It's grown from just my working alone to about 6 people. His biography requires so much research. We have a whole room full of different files, and in Los Angeles there are another about 4 or 5 typists who are typing full-time. They're typing all of Prabhupada's words practically that he spoke, not just like you get on the tape ministry, but there's so many tapes of him talking to his servant or talking in his room, and practically they're trying to type everything. And we have to go through this material and try to pick out things that can especially help us tell about Prabhupada's life. And then we've gone, these different workers have gone all over the world, gotten a lot of encouragement and personal help from Radha Vallabha, who will publish the book. And we've gone all over the world interviewing any devotee who had any association with Prabhupada. So we're collecting so much of that interview material, and then has it being filed under the date and the time and the subject, and then Prabhupada's letters. There's 7,000 letters he's written, so I have to go through them and put them in some order that I can deal with this massive material and put it into a pleasing written form. So that's going to take we don't know how long it'll take. We say 5 years, maybe it will take longer. The devotees seem to be satisfied as long as we come out with these installments. But if I speak of the greatness of the biography, it does not make me greater, because I'm just working on it also. It's Prabhupada's life. So we can't speak of the great importance of this thing, because one devotee, Rupanuga, was making a nice expression about it. He said that actually we want the whole world to take to Krishna consciousness. And the principle is that they have to approach the Guru. For those who are fortunate enough to seriously take it up, will approach the spiritual masters Prabhupada has empowered and will be coming in the future, and take an initiation. But even for the masses of people who are not serious enough to take initiation, they also have to approach, not Krishna directly, but through the spiritual master. So at least they have to see who is the spiritual master, the founder acharya of this ISKCON movement, in order to get respect for Krishna. So we want to make him known, not just by this written biography, but in other ways also, that he be known throughout the world in history as a great, great saintly person that he was, which he's not known now. So among the different things, there is the memorials of the buildings of the samadhis which are being built in India. And there's, like in America, there's Prabhupada's palace.